Hey, what is going on? It is finally time to start working on the FC. Slowly but surely we'll be chipping away on it. First step is to remove the wooden bed. And I know a lot of you think it's really cute and you like it better with the wooden bed, and well, I don't disagree that it's super cute. It just doesn't really fit the build look I'm going for this. So there's also a few reasons why I don't really like it or want it to stay on there. Plus I have that really nice rust-free original bed. So let me show you why I'm taking it off and then we'll dig right in. One of the main reasons is I just need to access everything, so it needs to come off regardless of whether I'm keeping it or not, and I don't see myself taking it off and putting it back on. I want to clean the rust off the frame, replace the brake lines, and just go over everything for safety and just to make everything last as much as possible. They also cut the bed mount, notched it, and it slides under the cab. I really don't like that, and I'm going to need to get at that area to do some rust repair, so it needs to come out anyway. It's not mounted the best, which isn't the biggest deal, but it definitely needs some attention. They welded some spacers onto the frame to mount it, so I need to grind all that stuff off anyway. I want to paint the frame and kind of make it more original. I also want to get some original taillights on the bed and just give it a more old school original look. This trailer hitch also has to go, which it's welded and bolted, so there's a lot of grinding and cleaning up to do on the frame. Another thing I don't like about the wood bed is that while it's much bigger than the original bed, you can fit more in it. It doesn't have a headboard, so it's just kind of asking for damage to the cab, which is good that they didn't block the vent for the cab, but it doesn't make the bed very useful. I think they hauled Christmas trees in this, so that would have been fine to throw a couple trees in here, but if you're putting lumber or rocks or firewood, you need a headboard. It also doesn't really have provisions for a tailgate, which isn't a huge deal, but when I start driving on the road, I will want stuff to stay in the bed. Another thing that's kind of a no-go for me is the fuel tank mounting. This is, I don't know if it's a boat fuel tank or something out of a little car. I would say it holds maybe 8 gallons or so, and it is just strapped to the wooden bed. So it's pretty solid, but it's not DOT approved. I wouldn't want to take it on the street like this, and I can't get at the frame to clean it. So that's going to come off. I'm probably going to throw it in the cab so I can still move it around while I'm working on it. But I'm going to be cutting and grinding. I don't want any sparks flying. It leaks, and just not a good setup. So for that reason, the bed is coming off. I'm going to get tools around, and let's get after it. Fuel tank is out. Most of the engine trouble I've had so far with the FC is because this thing is filled with rust and dirt and water. They have some nice plumbing fittings on here, and then this is just shoved in there. So now that I look at this, I think this is a tractor fuel tank. It looks an awful lot like the tank on my Ford. I have an 8N Ford, and it looks exactly like this. So something like that is my guess, because that's where a cap went, not a filler. Here's the aftermath. Spilled a little fuel, and it took about 11 seconds with a pair of tin snips, and the fuel tank is out. So you can see, I don't even know how they did this. This is like a tapered hole saw, and that's it. So they had this nice piece of wood in here as like a spacer. They really liked nails. There's lots of nails holding this Jeep together. But you can see there's another rust area, so I'm going to replace all the cab corners and that back piece of the cab eventually, but now I can start getting to everything to work on it. So fuel tank's out. There's a few wires with nails pounded into it, bent over as little wire attachment points. So I got to go under and clip all them and start taking lag bolts out. That's right, lag bolts to remove the bed from the frame. The bed is off. It fought us a little bit because they used some long threaded rods through the body mounts, but we got it out and everything actually looks pretty good. Here's the old T90. So this is they just basically use a column shift T90 and a Spicer 18 with the rear PTO, and the frame's nice and greasy and not too rusty from about here forward. From here back, it's not rotten real bad or anything, but it's going to need a lot of cleaning. So that's where I'm going to start today. But before that, I'm going to remove the lights and the trailer hitch setup here. I want to put an original drawbar on this in case I want to go with a PTO, and I just think they look better. And then I have to cut off all these brackets that they welded on for the bed, which is only 3. So there's one on each side here, and then a big piece of angle iron on that cross member. So I'll take that off and then kind of start assessing if there's any frame repairs needed. I'd like to save these leaf springs. They're nice and heavy. These are going to need all removed and replaced. So I'm probably going to strip the whole spring pack down, clean it, paint it, and rebuild it. And also, like I was saying, they really nailed it on this Jeep. Telltale Bubba Mechanic Jeep fix is don't buy a 12-cent cotter pin, just stick a nail in it. The clutch didn't even have a nail in it. That's just sitting in there, so glad that didn't fall out. There's a nail in the e-brake, and there's nails in the shocks, and pretty much anywhere there was supposed to be a cotter pin. And there's a tapered conical lug nut as a fix for too long of bolt on the bell housing. Gotta love it. They also had a piece of a road sign or something as the clutch inspection cover, so I popped that off and put a regular cover on it. But overall, I've seen worse. Alright, the bed is off, all the mounts are off. Let me show you what it looks like. I was able to get the spacers off the cross member, and I have to say this is the nicest cross member of any old Jeep I've worked on. Probably because it was a fire truck maybe, and it didn't get stuck and beat on out in the woods. I mean, this thing is straight. I cut those spacers off here, and that's all I had to do. It is funny how poorly they put together some of this, but then when they decided to weld these on, some guy put like 7 rods in there, and I don't know what rod he used, but the welds were super hard, and these things were welded all the way around. And then there was that big piece of angle iron here. They welded it on this side and down in there, but oh well, it's off, and everything actually looks really good. Even the gearboxes and stuff are really pretty darn clean. So I'm gonna pop the plugs on them, and I'll pop the top off the tranny, and maybe there's no oil in them. That would explain why they're so clean. But I'm pretty excited. There's no rot on the frame. There's nothing really that I need to repair. This little tab popped off, so there should be one of these on this side, but I don't know if I even need that for the FC bed. I did notice this is different. The flat fender frames don't have that, but other than that, it just looks like a CJ5 frame. I like these shock mounts that have the nut instead of the pin, but overall it looks really good. Next up, I'm going to go through with the needler and just take off the big loose chunks, and then I'm going to pull it around back and pressure wash everything. That is it for today. We got her all pressure washed and just drying everything out right now, and it all looks really good. I'm pretty happy. Definitely needs a new exhaust, but it was really fun to see a lot of the red poking out. Everything was painted red at one point, you could tell, and the wheels and the fender wells. So we're gonna get it all cleaned up and treated from the cab back. Start on the rust repair and getting the new bed mounted. I'm dirty, hot, sweaty, and I have stuff in my eyes. But that's where we're at for now. Thanks for watching, and catch you later.